Welcome to another video by Pack. This video is a part of the Pack podcast series and the Guide to the Night Sky series, where every month we release an audio and a video which you can listen and watch, where we take you through the various constellations and stars visible for each month. In this video, we'll discuss the various constellations and stars that are visible in the sky for the month of December around 7 pm each night. Ideally, for this month, before the 15th of December, you can venture out into the night sky and explore the stars and constellations before 7 pm, as there will be no moonlight to disturb your view. So let's begin. As we do for each of our Skywatch programs, we'll look towards the north first. So turn towards your north and look up in the sky right above your head. You'll find four stars that form almost a square. This is called the square of Pegasus. Pegasus is a winged horse in the Greek mythology, and each of these constellations have been given names according to each of these constellations have been given names in India, where some of these names are derived from the characters from various epics like the Mahabharata, while the other names are simply the equivalent names to the Greek counterparts. Here, Pegasus is named Nakula in the Indian system, as Nakula was a very famous horsekeeper. If you look at Pegasus closely, from the north, you will see that the top left vertex of Pegasus, you have three more stars that can be joined together to form a horse's face along with the square of Pegasus. Once you've located Pegasus, it's easier for me to define the various stars around it, so we'll see where the face of the horse is looking at. If you follow the face of the horse, this should take you towards the western horizon. Exactly at the western horizon, you'll see a star at about 20 degrees altitude shining brightly. Next to this, towards the southwest, you'll see two twinkling stars, but we'll come back to that later, as they're not stars but they're planets. So look at the western horizon, and at around 20 degrees you will see a bright star shining. This is Altair. Altair is a star in the constellation Aquila, the bird. Aquila, which can be imagined by you by looking at the stars around Aquila. Just look below Altair, you will see two stars forming a body, which are slightly pointing towards the southwest below Altair, and you will see four more stars that are perpendicular to this body, which form the wings of the bird. Look closely, and Altair forms the face or the eyes of the bird, while the rest of the body is formed by faint stars. Once you've spotted Altair in Aquila, we'll move towards the north, and near the northwestern horizon, just at about 10 degrees altitude, you'll find a star called Vega. Vega belongs to the constellation of Lyra, which can be seen as a rhombus towards the west of Vega. You'll see four faint stars which are visible in clear skies and quite hard to spot in urban skies, and Vega forms the tail to this rhombus. Lyra is called the Veena constellation in the Indian system, and Vega is the Abhijit Nakshatra. Altair that I mentioned earlier is called Shravana. And a little bit towards the north, at northwest, just above Vega at an altitude of about 25 degrees, you will find another bright star. Compared to Altair and Vega, this appears a little dim, but this is one of the biggest stars that we know and can see through our naked eyes. This is Deneb. Deneb is dim because it's a large star located 1400 light years away from us, while Vega and Altair shine bright because Vega is located at 25 light years away from us and Altair is just 16 light years away. So these are stars very close to us, while Deneb is a large star located very far. Deneb is called the Hansakshi because it belongs to the Hans constellation, or Cygnus the Swan. If you look towards the west of Deneb, you will find a little dimmer star and then two more dim stars that form the body of the swan. And just below Deneb, you'll see four stars that form a wing shape to the swan with the wings spread out in the sky. Cygnus the Swan is called Rajahamsa in the Indian system. The reason I'm pointing out these three stars is because if you look closely, these three stars form almost an equilateral triangle in the sky. This triangle is called the summer triangle because in the months of summer, these three stars can be found at zenith near midnight. Summer triangle is an asterism that can be found from the month of July towards December, and in the month of December you'll find this near the western horizon. Towards the south of the summer triangle you'll find the constellation of Capricorn, and then above it you'll find the constellation of Aquarius, but these are very dim stars, so it's quite hard to spot them. Once you've located the summer triangle, we'll move towards the north and see what lies there. Turn towards your north and look exactly at north. Between the square of Pegasus and the northern horizon, you'll find 5 stars forming M shape in the sky. Of this, the first 3 stars, 1, 2 and 3, form an equilateral triangle, and the stars 3, 4 and 5 form another triangle. This is Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia is called Kunti in the Indian constellation system, while in some regions of India like northern India, it's called Sharmista. Cassiopeia was a queen of Ethiopia according to the Greek mythology, and in this region you'll also find her husband Cepheus. But before that, we'll discuss the importance of Cassiopeia. If you do not have a compass, you can use the night sky to locate the north using the constellation of Cassiopeia. In the months where Big Dipper or the Saptarishi isn't visible or isn't high up in the sky, you can locate Cassiopeia in the north and realize that this is the northern direction. In fact, if you take the second triangle of Cassiopeia, the stars formed by 3, 4 and 5, and you divide this triangle into half. The line that you use to divide this triangle into half, if you extend it towards the horizon, you will find a star that has peculiar nature. While all the stars appear from the east, move across the sky and set in the west, this star remains fixed. This is Polaris. Due to its immovable nature, Polaris is also known as Dhruva in India. This is because the star lies exactly above the Earth's north pole, and it remains fixed with respect to the Earth's axis of rotation. So as the Earth rotates on its own axis, Polaris will remain fixed above it. So now that we have figured out Polaris, Polaris is the North Star, as in ancient times this star would be used to identify the north. Again, you can look at Cassiopeia, find the second triangle and divide it into half and extend this division towards the north. The star that appears fixed in the north is Polaris. Once you've located Dhruva Nakshatra, let's come back to the summer triangle, and between Polaris, the summer triangle and Cassiopeia, you'll find a region where the star appears to form a shape of a house but horizontal. These 5 stars belong to the constellation of Cepheus. Cepheus was the husband of Cassiopeia, and according to the Indian system, we call this Yudhishthira. In some regions of India, this is also known as the constellation of Yayati. Once you've noted Cassiopeia, Cepheus and the summer triangle, in the north, just below Pegasus, you'll find a region in the sky that appears to be like a lizard. This is hard to notice in urban skies, but in rural skies, you will find a small lizard called Lacerta in this region. Yes, a lizard in the sky. With faint constellations in this region, we'll move on towards the northeast. Look towards the northeast. At an altitude of about 10 degrees, you will find a bright star shining as a part of a pentagon that's visible near the horizon. This is Auriga and the star is Capella, but we'll discuss this in the next month as they'll be higher in the sky. So continuing from the northeast, we'll go back to Pegasus. Once you located the square of Pegasus, now from the northeast, you will see 3 stars forming a tail to this Pegasus, like a kite shape. The square of Pegasus, with one of its vertex right now pointing towards the northeast, has 3 stars forming a tail to it. In fact, if you look closely, there are 3 more stars that form a fainter tail to this square of Pegasus. Now you have 2 tails to this square of Pegasus appearing to be like a kite. The 2 tails are the constellation of Andromeda. Andromeda is known as Draupadi in the Indian system, and in some of the regions of India it is called as Devayani. If you look at the fainter tail of Pegasus, the second star in the fainter tail, just locate it and move towards the left a little. You'll find a hazy patch in the sky. This small smudge of white patch that you see right now is the Andromeda galaxy. Yes, a galaxy that you're looking at right now. Andromeda Galaxy is like our Milky Way with a billion stars in it, and at a distance of 2.5 million light years, this is the farthest object that you can see with an unaided eye. The light that you're seeing from this galaxy, it has traveled for 2.5 million years and it has just reached your eyes. See how fascinating the sky is. Once you've located Andromeda, move towards the northeastern horizon, and in between Capella, next to Cassiopeia, and below Andromeda, you'll find a few prominent stars forming a horizontal Y shape in the sky. This also looks like Nu after the Greek letter or a small letter R, however you imagine it, but this is however you imagine it. This is the constellation of Perseus or Partha. Once you've located Perseus next to Cassiopeia, you'll find that Perseus is made up of several stars forming this shape that we mentioned, but there are two bright stars in this region. The higher of the two bright stars is Algol or Beta Persei. Algol has a peculiar nature as the star that you see right now is actually made up of two stars. These are orbiting one another, and of these two stars, one is not as bright as the other. So when the dimmer star comes in front of the brighter star, we will see the brightness of Algol reduce. This eclipse occurs for 10 hours at a stretch, and once every 3 days you can see the magnitude or the brightness of Algol reduce and then rise again. Now that you have spotted Algol, look at the brightest star of Perseus and look towards Cassiopeia. If you look closely between the brightest star of Perseus, Mirfak and Cassiopeia, you will find a region in the sky that has a lot of stars condensed into one small space. This faint smudge is the Perseus double cluster. These are two star clusters where thousands of stars are close to each other and they appear next to each other, so it's a double cluster. Now that you have spotted Perseus, we'll move towards the east and you will find that there is a small group of stars twinkling so brightly and ever so close to each other. This is the Pleiades star cluster. In India, we call this the Kritika Nakshatra. Once you've spotted Kritika, move towards the Pegasus higher up in the sky and you'll find three stars bright enough forming a line with its tip bent. This is the constellation of Aries. The brightest star of Aries, Hamal, is the Ashwini Nakshatra in the Indian system. Hamal is located at 65 light years away from us, and the star below it forming Aries, forming the edge of Aries, is Bharani. So you've spotted Aries, the Mesha Rashi in the Indian zodiac system. Let's move on further towards Kritika and see what lies in this region. If you look at Kritika and move towards the east, you'll find an A shape in the sky with a lot of stars scattered in this region. This A shape is dominated by an orange star called Aldebaran or the Rohini Nakshatra. Aldebaran is at a distance of 66 light years away from us, and it lies in this A shape, that is the Hades cluster. If you look closely, this A shape can be extended with two more stars towards the northeast, and this forms the face of the Taurus constellation. Taurus the bull is the Rishabh Rashi in the Indian system, and this will appear close to the horizon in the month of December at around 7 p.m. If you move further close to the horizon, you'll also find Orion rising there, but we'll discuss this in the next month as it will be higher in the sky. So we have figured out the eastern skies, the northern sky and the western sky. Moving on to the last part of the sky, that is the south. Compared to the north, southern skies does not contain many bright stars. In fact, if you look closely, you'll find only two very bright stars in the southern skies right now. Between southeast and the south, you'll see one bright star close to the horizon. This is Achernar. Achernar is also called as the Vaitarni Mukha in the Indian system, as it is the end of the Vaitarni river. Vaitarni river is the constellation of Eridanus, which starts from the base of Orion and traces a really long path across the southern sky, and this is the Vaitarni river, which ends at Achernar or the Vaitarni Mukha. This region has a lot of constellations, like next to Eridanus you have the Fornax or Agnikonda, you have Phoenix, which is Chakora, and then next to Achernar you will have a stork with its head lifted above, which is the Grus constellation. Grus is called Baka, and above it you have the Sculptor constellation, but these are all very hard to spot as these are all made up of very faint stars. But above Grus, in the region between the south and southwest, you will find another bright star. This star belongs to the constellation of Pisces Australis, or the southern fish, and this star is called Fomalhaut. Fomalhaut is also called as the Meenakshi Nakshatra in the Indian system, and it's located 25 light years away from us. So we've covered the northern, the eastern, the western and the southern skies. Now it's time to address the elephant in the room. I told you near the west and southwest you will find two bright objects in the sky, and I told you these are not stars but these are planets. Yes, this is Jupiter and Saturn. Right now Jupiter and Saturn are approaching each other, and on the 21st of December they will appear the closest with an angular separation of 0.1 degrees or 6 arc minutes. This is called the Great Conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, and it occurs only once in 20 years. But this closeness of 0.1 degrees will only occur again in 2080, so you don't want to miss this. Mark your calendars, and on 21st December head out and look in the west for Jupiter and Saturn appearing the closest. Once you've spotted Jupiter and Saturn in the December evenings, you will look close to the zenith and you'll find that there's a red shining spot next to Pegasus. Near the square of Pegasus towards the east, you will find a red spot, that is Mars, the red planet of the solar system. Mars is currently located in the Pisces constellation, but this constellation is again made up of very faint stars, so it's hard to trace the constellation. So that's it. We have covered the December evening skies for this month, and in the next month we will come back with a guide to the sky in January. Make sure you subscribe to our channel to receive these guides every month, and we urge you to listen to this guide in audio format from the links given in the description, and head out and explore the stars yourself. Thank you, and clear skies.